Thanks for tuning in for today's Dredged Material Management Facility project update. I am Bridget Henk. I am a senior project manager at Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District and leading the DMMF project. Today we'll be talking about the project background, the design progress, the proposed schedule, and the next steps for the DMMF. Jumping in on the background of our Dredged Material Management Facility, or DMMF for short, we're going to start at the beginning. A dredged material management facility is a nearshore engineered structure that provides for long-term, safe containment of dredged material. In our case, that dredged material is going to be from the Milwaukee estuary area of concern. In the future, additional capacity is available as that material settles, and that capacity will be used by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District and City of Milwaukee. The facility itself is going to be constructed of a dual sheet pile wall, very similar to what you see on your screen. So one row of sheet pile, a second row of sheet pile, and those will be tied together with steel tie rods. This would then be filled with a granular material to provide a driving surface around all four sides. What you see on the screen was built at Randall Reef on Lake Ontario, and our construction will be very similar. There's a couple exceptions to that. Our construction will not have this baffle wall in the center. It's not needed for the way that the EPA will be filling the facility. We will have something called a bulk barrier. So between these two sheets is going to be another row of a thick material that doesn't allow transport of water or contaminants through the wall. So a typical sheet pile wall does have some gaps in it and does allow water transport. There is going to be another element of our design that does not allow that water transport through the facility. Walking through how did we get here? What were the steps that came before this? In May 2021, we submitted permit applications on the cofferdam structure. So prior to there being a dual wall structure, it was a circular steel structure, and that was also filled with a granular material. That design was pretty well advanced, so we were able to submit those permit applications and see where there were comments, concerns, and additional calculations needed. In July 2021, we were still waiting on those permit comments, and then we also needed a state statute approval to allow the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District to build the DMMF. While we were waiting, that gave us a chance to do a competitive bidding process called a request for proposals. This is a process we use in design to have a competitive design team to finish our work. In December 2021, the design contract was awarded to Ramble Engineering Americas, and in January 2022, that state statute was approved. With that, the first tasks for Ramble were to look at that previous design and identify any opportunities or enhancements that we could make to the facility to make it more constructible um, and to have as much capacity as we reasonably could. With that, in July 2022, discrepancy of that capacity was discovered, and we needed to revisit the shape of the DMMF and see if there's any opportunities for increased capacity for the Milwaukee estuary area of concern filling. So this first phase of filling. And ultimately, we ended up moving the northeast corner out to be adjacent to the navigational channel, which gave us a little bit more capacity and a lot more opportunity for the EPA estuary filling process. In spring, we moved that design forward and we have just submitted permit applications. In the next few slides, I'll walk through what those applications look like and what's included in them. That's a huge milestone for our group and why we thought it would be a great time to do another update. This summer, we're going to have some permit comments that come in, and we're going to continue to progress that design, moving into some more details of how the facility will be constructed and how that could be sequenced and phased in order to get this project completed in a reasonable time frame. This winter, we will be bidding that design package for construction. There are essentially 5 permit applications that we need to make as part of the Dredged Material Management Facility construction. The first is called a Low Hazard Waste Grant of Exemption. There's also a State Historic Preservation Office approval, a United States Army Corps of Engineers Section 401-404 review, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Water Quality Certification, and a United States Army Corps of Engineers Section 408 review. And I'll go into each one of those in detail. The first permit I'm going to walk through is a low hazard waste grant of exemption. This is a formal process for material management with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. This was initially submitted in the May 2021 package, and a public meeting was also held in May 2021. The primary concern discussed during that public meeting was the future use of the land once the facility is capped and closed. That's going to be decades into the future. A request for information was also received by MMSD on June 10th, 2021. Since the permit application and the request for information, the DMMF wall construction has changed, but the purpose and functionality of the facility remains the same, especially as it relates to the low hazard grant of exemption. The material going in is still the same. The way we're constructing it is slightly different, but since this particular application focuses on the material side of things, this is considered a resubmittal, and it does address those 2021 requests for information comments. The next permit application is actually more of a review with the State Historic Preservation Office. It's a review of the area for historic significance. We did find a sunken tug in the footprint of the facility. The preliminary evaluation indicates that there's no historical significance of that tug. We did also have a second target that was investigated in April 2023. Divers identified that target as branches in the sediment. A summary of these findings was included in the permit package, but a formal report is still in progress. When that report is finished, it'll be submitted to the agencies upon completion. Our next permit application is actually a joint application for our United States Army Corps of Engineers Section 401-404 and the WDNR Water Quality Certification. These review the impacts to the environment from the DNR perspective and the Army Corps perspective. Primarily, they're concerned with the seepage through the facility, short-term and long-term water treatment, long-term care and maintenance, and a facility closure plan. Previous comments from the 2021 application are included in our new 2023 application, and this is considered a new submittal due to the construction changes and the addition of the bulk barrier into the design. Our last application is another one for the United States Army Corps of Engineers. This is for their Section 408 permit. This permit relates to the impacts to the Dredged Material Disposal Facility and the Federal Navigational Channel. It incorporates the 2021 submittal comments, and this one also is a new submittal due to the change in construction approach along the DMDF. So the DMDF is the existing facility that is just south of our proposed DMMF. You can see it a little bit here in the cyan color is the proposed DMMF, and then this is the DMDF, or the existing facility. And along this edge, there was significant changes from the 2021 plans to the 2023 plans. So we are resubmitting the Section 408 application. The next steps for the Dredged Material Management Facility is completing the design of the facility and incorporating those permit application comments from the various agencies. We are anticipating construction of the DMMF to be from 2024 to 2026. The EPA will begin filling with the Milwaukee estuary area of concern material in 2026 and an estimated completion of 2028. That material will then need a chance to settle. That'll take about 10 to 15 years. During that time, MMSD and Port Milwaukee will have the opportunity to fill the facility, the remainder of the facility, with our material. Capping and the final cover of the DMMF is anticipated to be 25 to 50 years from now. Questions or would like more information, my contact information is on the screen in front of you. And to waterwaypartners.org.